Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Christ Bug, and once again, I'm back at it. Sorry for the many lives. It's just don't got that much storage on my computer now. And yeah, there's an invitation if you want to join. I have so much shit on my computer, I don't know what to do on here. Of course, the obvious answer would be delete it, but there's so much stuff I need on here. Then that what is there to delete that I don't need? Like I don't live for this world. Excuse me. Sorry about that. But I do not live for this world. As I say, texting. Kidding, but seriously, I'm letting a brother in Christ know that I'm live. But yeah, I was just joking about that. Cause all's allowed me, but not all is expedient. So, um, yeah, all's allowed me, not all is expedient. I'm allowed to enjoy the things of this earth, but am I to love the earth itself? I would propose to you not. Yep, I propose to you not. As a matter of fact, I would suggest hating this world, but using it to get by. Hopefully, I can give you guys some shit to look forward to. Not that it should, but like basically, you know what I mean. Hopefully, I can give you guys some stuff to look forward to. But as the title suggests, our big downs produce our big ups. So yeah, big downs produce big ups. What do I mean by that? Big sufferings, little sufferings, any type of suffering produces a big up. No matter what the size. Um no matter what the size, it produces a big up. Now, let me give you an example of something small becoming very big. Give you an example of something small becoming big. And being the weeb, being the person that likes anime, being the gaijin, being all this shit that people would call me, I have to make it be seen through anime terms. So best believe we're going about to jump into shit after I'm done with this term. Remember the power, he calls it. Hopefully I can find this before anybody joins the live. Because yeah, this is whatever. But anyways, okay. Let's get into it without having to use a visual now. My neck is screwed up, I know. So is my back. But I thank God it's not in pain plus discomfort. Anyways, you already know what I mean by big downs or any size of our downs. It have to do with our ups being big. Excuse me, bros and girls, or women in this case, whatever. Sorry about that. Excuse me. But anyways, big ups, small or big downs, small downs produce big ups. I am gonna tell you a little bit of a story that supports this. And there's may not be biblical, but there's some spiritual significance to it. And I'll draw a biblical parallel with it. So, I'll try to draw a big biblical parallel with it. So, here's the thing. Here's the story basically. Last year, during around Christmas time, 2021, I felt shitty. I know that it took a while to get here, but it is what it is. Anyways, last year I felt shitty, right? Bottom of the barrel type shit, you know? And this is part of the story, I felt depressed and I put on a facade of happiness in that year. And around that time, because it was Christmas, and you know how people like to, excuse me, at least act happy during Christmas time. They like to be cheerful. I was more than trying to not be depressed. I was trying to be cheerful, not for my own sake, because if you know me long enough, I don't do much for myself except for like the necessities and like I put my loved ones before myself, or I try to. And I'm pretty hard on myself, per se. Not per se, I am hard on myself. But regardless, back to the story. And anyways, on Christmas Day, I heard my mom being happy and singing, and I thought, okay, now this is even more incentive to try not to be depressed. And the reason why I thought this was because, again, I was trying to be selfless. I loved my mother, so I tried not to be depressed. And depression being a mental illness, it just didn't turn out that way. I tried to hold out for as long as I could. And what ended up happening was I held out for at least till the New Year's, or after Christmas, not Christmas Eve, after Christmas. And guess what happened? I finally broke the facade and said I said to myself, rather, I need to be honest. I need to be full on honest. Then 2022, this year came up. And a lot of shit happened in between those two different timelines. 2020, late towards the end of there, or 2021 rather. And 2022, this year, you see. So, what is it, you asked, that was so serious? Well, for one, and I remember Martin Zinner talking about this. I remember Martin Zinner making a video about this. That suicide is not the unforgivable sin. And I had many thoughts along those lines, being depressed and all. I had many thoughts of I didn't want to be here and all that. But my thing is, I had something to keep me going. And by this point, not and I'm basically in this story. Not only do I have some a message in the story, but also I'm pouring my heart out to you believers, to fellow believers. So yeah. Anyways, at this point, long before long before this point ever reached, long before time, let's just say long before a time. There was a one point in time before this to where my mom's feelings about my suicide did not matter. Like I was so down in the barrel of just despair that I really did not consider my own mother's feelings when doing this. And here's how I and here's a not to disprove free will again, but here's another reason why I don't believe in free will, because I have attempted suicide many times. And each time resulted in the same exact thing, which was that I couldn't go through with it. It's like some force tried to stay my hand. So when this force at the time, all I knew was tried to stay my hand, and believe me, like this happened multiple times through, and I had different mindsets each time. Some similar, some different than others. I remember one time I thought to myself, why can't I go through with this? Then I just recently, I don't know how I didn't see this. I mean, I did see it, but I don't know how I didn't reflect on it. That God did not want me to take my life, so therefore I did not. And that being said, something amazing happened. Well, a lot of amazing things happened. One thing amazing happened is that I came to that realization, and I try, and here's my coping mechanisms, and here's some ideas I suggest for you guys as well, for if you guys want to not end up messing anything up for yourself. As far as like, I'm sure you won't mess anything up for yourself, but like as far as like not forfeiting, ruling, and reigning, where suicide is not a unforgivable sin like Christians like to say, but you can forfeit ruling and reigning if you do so. I'm not sure what comes with ruling and reigning besides ruling and reigning. Basically, like, I don't know what comes with that besides that. So that being said, I just have to say that a coping mechanism is don't focus on your problems too much. I'm not saying completely ignore it, because all of us believers feel like this. All us believers been down in the barrel, bottom of the barrel type shit. All of us believers been there. All of us believers felt down. And I guess this live is more of a up talk for anything. If you know what up talk is, it's just a made up word I created or just made up. Anyways, you don't have to hide what you feel. You don't have to discard what you feel. Okay? But I would suggest not focusing on it and keep an eye on Christ, keep an eye on things above, keep an eye on your expectation, your allotment, keep an eye on things that will come to you. Because I remember this one verse saying that Paul himself basically said that the things that the pains of this life, in layman's terms, the pains of this life are not to be compared to the joys that will come next. And I hold on to this. This is one of the things that keeps me going. Aside from trying to talk to y'all when you guys are not busy, of course. Aside from that, that's one of the things that keeps me going. Excuse me, sorry about that. Anyways, let me share something real quick. Share a couple of my Bible verses to kind of not prove my point, but support it. Um. Okay, so here we go. Hebrews 11:27. My dyslexia got me reading a bit slow here, but by faith he left Egypt, not being afraid of the fear of the king, for he says he is staunch and as seeing the invisible. Now, what kind of significance does that play? Even though you do not see anything changing, even though you do not see any good coming out of what you're going through at the moment, you will see it soon because you're keeping an you're seeing as invisible. You're seeing as invisible. You're as seeing the invisible rather. And why would you do that? Here's the answer. Because it is something to keep you, it's like a morale booster. It's like oh my bad. Excuse me. Anyways, it's like a morale booster. If you go if you see like old World War II movies or new World War II movies or any type of war movie, not any, but some movies, they have this cliche type scene, quote unquote, where the soldiers are just down. They're like, there's like maybe there's too many of them. We can't win. Our forces has dwindled. Maybe in that whole movie thing. Then there's and then some morale boost comes in some form, whether it be a whole ass speech, whether it be some type of sign or something in the movie, or whatever. That is their morale booster, or in the movie, the plot demands that they have a morale booster, and that's basically it for them. That does happen in real life sometimes, I guess, but not necessarily in movie fashion. Because let's be honest, Hollywood is. But yeah. Anyways, let me try to look up another version. Not another version, but another verse. Let's see. What's a good thing? I can right now. I look up Bible verses by just words I remember and these verses. So, allotment, and this is also a good idea to help bring. Hey, Moonlight Man, nice to see you. I should be calling you, and I will be calling you in a little while. Shoot, looked up in the light. Anyways, probably not the smartest thing to do, but I'm about to do something smarter. um, I got a better word. Expectation. Expectation. Why is that a better word, you might ask? Because that's exactly one of the things that our faith is in, right? Expectation is the one thing that drives our faith. I'm not saying drives our faith as in like it's what makes our faith, but it is a factor in how we keep the faith, I guess. In the relative, we have to have a morale booster, like I try to explain. So there should be some type of verse here that has something to do expectation. Let's see, loving the saints. I can't spell saints. Oh, there it is. So this computer's running a little slow now, but I don't care. That's fine by me as long as it actually gets there. But even if it doesn't, I'm pretty sure you guys know what I'm talking about. Hmm. Okay, maybe there's some. All right, bro. All right, bro. Most def. See you soon. Anyways, I'm sure that that one Bible verse was enough, at least for now. But let me just talk about the fact that I don't know what y'all go through right now. I don't know what y'all been going through. I don't know what y'all have went through. I don't know what you guys will be going through. The only way I could know is if you guys tell me. But our trials serve a purpose. If you're a believer in the body of Christ, you will know that undoubtedly. Or at least if you have doubt, it's like only for brief moments. And by brief moments, I mean it could take however long it needs to, but it eventually goes away. It's my point. So, why would I? Oh, you're back. Cool, cool, cool. Hop. Don't. Well, you could hop in live if you want to, but definitely hop in the show if you want to. Be wherever you need to be. But anyways, the expectation. Tremendous times. Jesus wasn't crucified on a pole. Hold on. I believe that some believers. My back, my neck. Sorry about that. I'm not. I mean, it says is tree in Greek. I'm not gonna try to pronounce that word because I've been studying Japanese, Chinese, and all these other stuff. I've been studying multiple languages, so I might pronounce that in an Asian esque type way. So I'm not gonna try to do that. I'm not gonna try to pronounce that. Sorry, but the tree of life, tree. Okay, and that is true. He was crucified on a stake, not a pole. The tree of life, the tree. This says tree of life. He is the fruit of the tree of life. Okay, cool. Most definitely. You put a like on that because like that's another thing. Not many people know that he wasn't crucified on a pole. He was crucified on a stake. Some people believe that he was crucified on a tree, but it certainly was not a pole. It certainly wasn't some type of neat looking fixture that he was crucified on. Let's just put it this way. If Jesus was crucified, excuse me, if Jesus was crucified on something neat, then all the beatings he got, all the lashings, the crown of thorns, all that, all that would have I'm not sure what it would have been more insulting being hung on something nice after, like, I'm not trying to seem worldly here or anything, but I don't know which would be more insulting. Being hung on something nice after going through pretty much torture and being beaten and all that, or just on you pretty much get my point. But yeah. Anyways, you're right. You're right. It's not a cross. Basically, it's not a picture like that. It read the rod of almond tree. Anyone who partakes the death and body into the will have ate the tree of life, and therefore and has their life have life in it. Cool. And that's another thing we have in our expectation. So you know what, guys? We should have a. I should make a live about what Jesus was really, not how Jesus was really crucified, because nobody wants to hear the gruesome details of that. And quite frankly, I'm just basking in the for freedom in Christ frees us. So I'm basking in that instead of focusing on the details of how he was crucified. But I should make a video on exactly what you guys are talking about, regardless of that. But anyways, back to the point of the video. That you guys may be suffering. You guys are suffering at times, I know. But you guys are not suffering in vain, just like Jesus did not suffer in vain. So when Christians say, I just realized this just now, that if Christians say that Jesus suffered in vain, well, in essence, their teaching says that he suffered in vain, because most of people go to hell in their Christian doctrine. So if he suffered in vain, then that means that the people that were born after Jesus have died in vain just to go burn in hell, which obviously we don't believe, because that's a bunch of bullshit. But here's the thing. There is definitely joy to be had, not necessarily in suffering, but there's joy to be had from the suffering. I know I do not have a concordant Bible out or anything like that, but I a lot of I guess you'll find that a lot of believers talk without having to read from a concordant Bible. A lot of people have done this. A lot of people have read the concordant Bible. A lot of people have talked on different topics on YouTube, like Seth Fallenkamp. Other believers have talked without having to use the Bible concordant. And to me, that's That's not kind of impressive. That is impressive, because if you can speak the truth without having to use the Bible as a source, while speaking truth, like say, okay, I'm telling you the truth right now, and I got my source. Excuse me. It's more impressive to speak the truth without having a source at hand, at your disposal. But it's even more, and excuse me, I know that we all have a way of telling the truth without having to skew it or twist it. So we all have a way of saying the truth without completely twisting the knob, making it different. And let me just say this. That is very impressive. Like, really. But anyways, I want to talk about how real quick our allotments being a joint allotment and then a separate allotment for the individuals in the body of Christ. And I want to talk about this because of the fact that many believers talk about allotments and expectation in two different senses. They say they word things differently that gives off two different vibes here. One of the vibes is that we all have an expectation, we all have an allotment that is the same for everybody. Yet we have a joy, we have an allotment, we have I think that's a consummation. Oh yeah, I think so too. But anyways, my point is people speak in two different senses. Excuse me. The two different senses I like to think of it as the joint allotment and then the individual allotment, or the joint thing and the individual thing. Basically, in layman's terms. So obviously the joint allotment is more well known than individual allotments. I would argue the only people who know about individual allotments are the individual and God Himself, mainly God Himself. Well, well, during the eons, but the consummation should be the end. Okay, just so you guys, anybody who watches this after this is recorded, Tremendous Truths for Tremendous Times said this first before Moonlight Man came back and said this is actually during the eons. Then consummation should be the end. I'm sorry for flip flopping that in order, but either way, they're both correct. They're both correct that these events had to happen, but Moonlight Man is correct in the sense of it happens. It's during the eons to the two, but the consummation should be then. That is where he is right. My neck is bothering me. Oh well, doesn't matter. This must go on because I want it to go on. So basically, oh yeah. By the way, let me type one comment in. Oh yeah, of course. Hold on, Moonlight Man. I was. That is. Before I get to that, let me just add my comment. Speaking about what you two were talking about, and I would assume that everybody would be alive before death is abolished. But anyways, speaking about allotments, you're correct, right? So as I was saying, the two different allotments, the joint allotments, and then the individual. I hear about expectations, allotments all the time from different believers, especially now. I at least like I have to go and find the videos, but like they're out there. They are out there. But my point is, they speak in two different senses. Like they speak as if, and I'm not saying as if like as if it's true when it's not, but I'm speaking in the word as if, in a sense of maybe they're trying to say something, which they are trying to say something. And what they're trying to say is, speaking in these two different senses, by all means, from what I've understood, we have an allotment all together, and yet we all have an allotment by ourselves. In the sense of like we have an individual allotment and we also have a joint allotment, as I like to state and as I like to put it. Now, what is the individual's allotment? I'm not sure. I'm not you. You're not me. You're not God. I'm not God. But the thing is, I would say that the only clues I have to go, I have some clues to go by, but one big major clue I have to go by is that, hold on, it says it literally on the title of this book. One of the clues, it literally says it. Lo and behold, you're about to see. Nothing will be lost. And when I think, and how does that saying apply to the individual allotment, you might ask? Nothing will be lost. Think about it. Just think about it for a second. You done thinking? Ha! But anyways, here's what I think that has to do with this. What I think it has to do with is the fact that your thoughts, your good thoughts, of course, not your thoughts like when you're angry or when you're like depressed or anything like that. But like, not even your thoughts aren't lost in the sense of. But since I'm talking about allotment, let's talk in a much more niche sense, because I'm not sure if if your thoughts have anything to do with your allotments, then then I would say that you're daydreaming about the allotment. Like the Bible passage I just showed that the person that was running away from the king but not in fear, the person that was basically on the run from the king, I can't remember, like I think Joseph. Anyways, my point is he was daydreaming. In a way, he was daydreaming about the allotment. I'm not sure if he was daydreaming about the joint allotment or the single allotment or both, or the individual allotment or both. See you, bro. Much love to you. Grace and peace, and come back anytime. Excuse me, sorry about that. Just so Moonlight Man can say his farewells for now. Nice to see you both here. Nice to see anybody here, actually. And another thing I gotta say is this. He may have been thinking about both the individual allotments and the joint allotment. He may have been thinking about both. Why do I say this? Because there are two different allotments in the sense that there are two different types of allotment. One for all for one, if that makes sense. If that doesn't make sense, let me break it down real quick. So basically, the joint allotment and the singular allotment for that individual. So what am I trying to say here? What I'm trying to say here is, oh yeah, I was talking about nothing being lost. My neck is bothering the hell out of me, but it doesn't matter at the moment. Anyways, what will not be lost is your dreams. Like, you know what? To make this pretty niche and pretty simple, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I like music. I'm a music artist. I like anime. I like a lot of stuff. My desire as a music artist is for my music to be appreciated and stuff and all that. To express myself, to use music as an expression and all that. Now, that who's to say that's not part of my allotment, part of my individual allotment? Of course, there's a lot that ties into my individual allotment, and I say that with confidence because due to this little story I have here, and it is a short story, I'm trying to make it as short as possible. That when I saw Martin Zenner saying that love believes all, and he said that in no way or shape or form that could apply to humans at all. I completely agree with that. You'd be kind of you would definitely be wrong to do that. And you'd definitely be unrealistic to do that, to expect that out of a human. But to expect that of God is definitely good. So I expect all of God because if I could love God in any way, I'm going to love him in that way and any other way that I can. And one of the things, and I could make a, I'm going to talk about the love chapter. I may even like review Martin's video on the love chapter. I don't know. Depends on my time, my storage space on this thing, and whatever else. But my thing is this. I expect a lot from God because not only because of my sufferings, but because if I could love God in any way, this is just one of a couple more ways, excuse me, that I can love God. And I'm trying to love God in every way I can. And if I fail in one area, then I'm trying to stay true in another. Correct? Okay. Try to make this short. But anyways, yeah. I'm gonna love him in every way possible that I can. And try not to falter. And if I falter, oh well. Not trying to make light of it, but I'm just saying like God won't hold it against me like I don't handle it against myself. If you don't hold sin against you, he won't hold the fact that you failed in one aspect to love him. So, my thing is this. I told you what my thing was, which is I'm going to love him in any aspect and every aspect that I'm able to. So, that being said, I'm going to love him by expecting all. Not only that's one way I'm going to love him actually. But not only am I putting my attitude towards the trials, and not only am I using my attitude towards the trials in a productive way, but I'm also loving God. I'm loving God by not taking account of evil, one, or I am taking account of it in a way, but I'm not like saying, hey, you did evil to me, so I want you to pay me back. It's more like, and I'm looking at it in a different way. I'm like, you did evil to me. That's fine. I know that this isn't to be compared to what good you got going on for me. And I'm not trying to make this a selfish talk, although it is kind of selfish in nature. And I am talking about myself, but when I talk about myself here, I'm trying to make sure that I'm trying to paint you a picture for yourselves via using myself as an example, being the main character of the whole narrative, if you will. Because I can only explain from my own experience. I'm not Jesus, so I can't explain from his narrative. So I'm explaining this in the best way I can. In every video, I try to explain the best way I can. Every live, I try to explain the best way I can. But I digress. When you expect all from God, that's one way you could love him. And I expect all from God, yes. I even mentioned in one of my videos, one of my oldest videos, that I expect all from God, and I expect a lot from God. I mentioned a couple of things that I actually expected from him in that video. So, yeah, I know I'm rambling on and on now, but shit. I guess I'll make a part 2 for this. So, grace and peace. When I have more to say, I'll let you know. And there's another live I'll be doing about addressing that. I think we're more close to the statue way than you might think. Because as you may or may not know, a volcano erupted. The volcano Tonga erupted. And apparently it took out the whole damn entire island it was on for some reason. That reason being that it was an obviously huge ass explosion. So that's another sign that we're closer to the snatching away. And I'm not I'm not looking for signs because I'm like an Israelite. I'm looking for signs because I'm eager to get the hell out of here and into something better, as the rest of us. So grace and peace. I'll do a part 2 on this video or on this live in whatever format, maybe. But grace and peace. Oh yeah, I know, right? We'll definitely talk about that after this. We're definitely gonna talk about that after this. So grace, peace, y'all. Love y'all. Making a part 2 later.